Round 1 of the NBA playoffs is almost complete, and already most of the teams have advanced. There's only one series that hasn't been finished yet, and that's Mavericks versus Clippers. Game 7 is coming on later today, so I'll be talking more about that later. First of all, I'm sorry I didn't get to make a playoff predictions video. I was gonna make one, but then I didn't get the time, and yeah, that's as simple as that. So yeah, I really don't know how else to explain it. Yeah. Anyways, my playoff predictions, it might sound like they're like I didn't have it like this, but I wrote it down. I put it down, like, this is before the playoffs even started. Like, I remember my predictions from before the playoffs started. So, my original predictions were, I had the Sixers beating the Wizards in 5. I had the Nets beating the Celtics in 5. I had the Bucks over the Heat in 7. I had Knicks over Hawks in 7. So that one I got wrong. But then I got Jazz. I had Jazz over Grizzlies in 6. I had the Suns beating the Lakers in 7. I had the Nuggets beating the Trailblazers in 6 or in 7. And before the playoffs started, I had the Clippers beating the Mavericks in 6. But then later on, I changed it to Mavericks beating the Clippers in 6. And now it's Game 7 today. So I could be right, I could be wrong, who knows. But yeah, either way, I'm technically right, but technically wrong. Good. So now I'm gonna just start talking about the series. This is pretty much gonna be a similar format to the play-in predictions video that I made, but hopefully it's shorter, considering that video is like almost an hour long. If you guys like me just putting in the background some 2K gameplay and some music, I tried out a different angle for the camera this time, and if you guys like it, then go ahead. If you guys don't like it, then it's fine. Let me just stop rambling and get to the focus of the video. So I'm gonna start with the easy series, the ones that weren't as crazy. The Sixers versus Wizards one. I knew that the Wizards are gonna get one game. I didn't expect the Embiid injury, but hopefully Embiid can come back, because injuries suck, and especially in the playoffs when every team's supposed to be at their best so that they can compete the best they can. It sucks. But at the end of the day, the Sixers are the first seed, the Wizards are the 8th seed. The Wizards didn't have anybody who could guard Embiid, and even without Embiid, the Sixers still had Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Danny Green, all these guys, so they're not losing that. And yeah, I pretty much expected that the Wizards would get at least one game, because Bradley Beal would have a ridiculous game and they wouldn't be able to stop him. But yeah, what the Wizards, you know what, I'm gonna get to that in the off-season video. I'm making an off-season video about what each team should do in the off-season. That's gonna be a whole different video. That's gonna come after the playoffs, so you guys could be ready for that. But anyways, Nets versus Celtics. I expected the Nets to win this one, of course. I knew Jason Tatum could get a game, Kemba could have a good game, Smart could have a good game. If they all had a good game all at the same time, because Jaylen Brown's out, if they all had that one good game, then they could get a win. And that's what they did. Jason Tatum had like 50 points, and the Nets lost that one game. But other than that, it's James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. So you can't really do anything against it at the end of the day. My second round prediction is kind of interesting considering that, but I'll get to that later. Now, which users? Okay, this one was ridiculous, and I'm only saying it's ridiculous because I was really surprised by how it turned out. Heat versus Bucks. The Heat got swept. 4-0 swept. What? Really? Like, the Heat got swept. Like, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, the same team that made the finals last year and swept this team in the second round, they got swept. And I'm considering that's the addition of Drew Holiday that helped the Bucks sweep the Heat this year. But like, what? That I don't know what happened. They did lose Jay Crowder, and like some of their guys are like a bit worse than last year. And now probably people are gonna probably say, oh, it was because of the bubble heat. And I saw a bunch of memes with that, bubble guppies with the Heat. Yeah, it's gonna be rough for the Heat, but they got they really disappointed. All I can say is they really disappointed, because I expected it to at least go to 6 games, at least go to 6 games. They didn't get 1 game. They almost got the first game with the Chris Middleton game winner, but no, they couldn't even win 1 game, which is crazy. Next up, I'm gonna switch over to the West before I talk about that Hawks-Knicks series. Actually, you know what? That Hawks-Knicks series was shorter than I thought it would be. And Trae Young looks absolutely amazing. Honestly, like, he's like, it's like he was like a villain to Knicks fans, and he still probably is like a villain to Knicks fans right now. And if that's a rivalry, Knicks versus Hawks, and Trae Young becomes the villain, then I'm all for that, man. That would be fire, man. That would be crazy, because to see Trae Young just like do all this stuff and just watch Knicks fans get disappointed every year, that would be fun to watch. And I sound like an anti-Knicks fan, but I'm really not. The Knicks aren't terrible. I don't hate them. I don't love them either. I don't hate them. It's like, just Trae Young is, if that could be a new rivalry, a new thing. But I don't know who on the other team it would be a rivalry with. I guess like maybe Julius Randle, but he's a bit older than Trae. And then maybe RJ Barrett, but he's like 1 year younger. But I can see it being RJ Barrett versus Trae Young, or maybe just the Knicks as an organization versus Trae Young. Who knows? But yeah, if the Knicks get a star, then maybe them versus Trae Young. I don't know. It would have been really nice to see Zion versus Trae Young, but of course that graphic, you know, the graphic with Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson, and Kyrie Irving. Yeah, that didn't work out at all. Yeah, pretty much Julius Randle looked bad in the series after having a ridiculous season, and I definitely expect the Knicks to win this one, but Trae Young is ridiculous. So I remember watching that game winner that he made in game 1. Everybody was booing him, but everybody, like, at the Garden, it's a lot of fans there. They love the Knicks, and if you make them mad, they'll boo you. Next time they see you, they'll boo you. They'll boo you before you even get off the court. So, but that's still a good series. Like, it wasn't as good as the series as I want it to be, but it was still an okay series. All the series in the East were pretty like short and soft and normal, but all the series in the West, well, not all of them, but most of the series in the West were crazy. So first off, we have Jazz versus Grizzlies. If you look at this, just these are two like pretty small market teams, I'd say. Or maybe I'm wrong. I know the Jazz are a small market team, so I don't know if anybody was really watching the series. I've watched a bit of it, and so John Morant went off in those first few games, but I saw that one graphic with him and Curry, and apparently his career high is now the same as Curry's career high, which is crazy. But yeah, John Morant went off in that series, and he showed off. But at the end of the day, the Jazz are the Jazz. like they didn't have Donovan Mitchell in game 1, and that's probably part of the reason why the Grizzlies won. And everybody got excited, but just like last year, they won all the rest of the 4 games. Because last year, the Blazers won game 1, but then the Lakers won all the rest of the 4 and went out to win a championship. So you never know. The Jazz could end up winning a championship this year. No, I doubt it. They're like my 5th choice. So, yeah. Maybe my 5th choice out of all the teams left. And that could change after today with the Mavericks Clippers series. But continuing, next series that I want to talk about, I'll talk about Lakers Suns. Let's talk about Lakers Suns. I expected the Suns to win the series, but then and when they won game 1, I was like, oh yeah, this is what we're seeing from them. And then Chris Paul got injured and he was looking bad, so I was kind of worried for them. But then Anthony Davis looked absolutely terrible in game 1. He came back game 2, was on fire. Then I was kind of getting scared for my prediction. But then the Lakers blew a 2-1 lead and the Suns came back. And Cameron Payne, Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, and Devin Booker. Most of all, Devin Booker. So I'm gonna start with Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne off the bench. Cameron Payne, I've seen him play. He's not known for anything, right? He's known as a bad player, but that's it. But he redeemed himself in the series, man. He actually came out and came to play, man. He was playing well. Yeah, that's all I can say. I just saw him. He was just dropping buckets in game. What was it? I think it was game. I remember it was one of them that I watched. Cameron Payne was going off in the 3rd and 4th quarter, but that was something. So now Cameron Payne is a decent player. That's interesting. Cam Johnson was playing good. This Suns team, I like the Suns team, and mainly because Devin Booker. Mainly because last year they went 8-0 in the bubble, but still didn't make the playoffs, and I felt so bad for them. But now Devin Booker is going off just like he did in the bubble. He has a competent team. He has Chris Paul, which of course makes a difference, and pretty much everybody just got better. So it's a good situation, you know. So I like it. I like what I'm seeing from the Suns. I could see them being there. I had a list of my top contenders at the beginning of the playoffs. My top contender was probably the Bucks. And okay, that sounds stupid. I'm gonna admit it. My top contender, it was the Bucks, but it depends on one series, and that's why Nets are second. Because Bucks versus Nets, that's an interesting series, but I'm gonna get to that later. So my top contenders at the beginning of the playoffs, it was first Bucks, then second Nets, then third. It's the same. It depends on that one series, Suns versus Lakers, where if the Suns win it, I have them third. If the Lakers win it, I have them third. And the Suns won it, but that doesn't matter now. So I'll just put Suns third, Lakers fourth. I'd say the Clippers fifth. Probably after that, I'd say the Jazz sixth. Maybe then probably the Sixers seventh, and the Nuggets eighth. Those are my top 8 contenders, pretty much. So, yeah. All the other teams, I 100% doubt they're gonna win it, unless Luka goes off, unless Trae Young goes off, pretty much. But out of those teams, one of those teams could be eliminated today. Another one of those teams is already eliminated. So, it's crazy, man. I'm rambling, man. I'm gonna just quickly get to the next series. So, pretty much Lakers, Suns. Oh, I also got to talk about that. LeBron could be regressing, man. as long as I've been watching basketball, LeBron has always been the best player in the league. Even way before I was watching basketball, LeBron was the best player in the league. Because it's LeBron James. What do you expect from him? So I saw LeBron in the series. It was just, I think he gave up on some points, and that's kind of bad because there's some plays where he just wasn't getting back on defense, and he just stood there and let the other team score. And he didn't look like playoff LeBron. He looked like 2018-19 LeBron. That LeBron that didn't play defense and turned the ball over constantly. Like yeah. Pretty much LeBron didn't look good. So we could see LeBron regressing. He could be getting worse. He probably is getting worse, considering like he got eliminated in the first round for the first time in years. I think that's his first time he's been eliminated in the first round. But yeah. Next up, Blazers Nuggets. Now, this series was probably the second best or best series of the first round, depending on how this Game 7 goes. It could be the best series of the first round. It could be. And that's because of Nikola Jokic and Damian Lillard. I already knew this series was going to be great but I didn't expect it to be in 6. I thought it would be Nuggets in 7, right? And originally in 2019 playoffs, these same two teams faced off, and there was that whole huge double OT Game 6 where the Blazers won and forced the Game 7. This year there's a double OT Game 5. Dame dropped 55, and or was it triple OT in 2019? I don't know, but yeah, Dame dropped 55. The stuff he was doing was absolutely ridiculous. I was watching this game, and this dude. But at the end of the game, they gave the ball. They kept on giving the ball to CJ. They kept on giving the ball to other guys who weren't named Damian Lillard. That was their first mistake. And I don't know what Terry Stotts was coaching up, writing up like for the plays and stuff. I don't know what he was doing, but what they needed to do to win that game was give Damian Lillard the ball and let him go to work. But they didn't do that, so they lost. And then Game 6, they disappointed, and now here we are. Nuggets are in the second round. Dame, I'm sorry, my guy. You might as well request a trade. You should really request a trade. Dame really likes Terry Stotts, right? So if they fire the head coach, Dame might not want to be there anymore. So they're probably gonna have to trade him. That's what they should do, in my opinion. No, I should do a Trailblazers reboot. You know what? That's a video idea for another day. For now, maybe today. Who knows? Now, Nuggets side of things, they don't have Jamal Murray, but they still somehow pulled out this series win in 6. And I mean, it's the Denver Nuggets, so Jokic. I mean, have I already said this? Jokic is the MVP at this point. Curry, the fact that he didn't make the playoffs is even more. But I know the playoffs is that like the MVP is a regular season award, but you can't not make the playoffs and win an MVP award. So it's like Curry could deserve it. You could say Curry deserves it, but he's not gonna get it because Jokic made the playoffs, and Jokic is Jokic. So what can I say? Now the last series we'll be talking about that like already happened. Mavericks Clippers. Oh wow. Okay. So Luka Doncic. Him and the Mavericks took the first 2 games. They were looking good. Everybody was saying Mavericks are about to sweep these Clippers. And then the Clippers came back. They won games 3 and 4. And people were like, oh, this might be an interesting series. Okay, Clippers are back. Clippers are good. And it's like people are going back and forth on their predictions. And it's crazy. And I admit, I was one of those people. So, yeah, Clippers win game 3 and 4. Then Mavericks won game 5. Everybody's saying, oh, Mavericks are about to close this out in game 6. Mavericks lose game 6. Clippers win off of Kawhi just going off. So it's pretty much Kawhi versus Luka. Because playoff P he's showed up a few times in the series. And Kristaps hasn't been great. But the supporting cast of both teams, though, that's been the X factor. Because Tim Hardaway Jr. has a good game. Maxi Kleber has a good game. Jalen Brunson. If those guys have good games, then the Mavericks are probably going to win that. If guys like... Who's in the Clippers again? Patrick Beverley, VC Zubac, Paul George. I forgot about Kristaps and Paul George. Those two have disappointed in the season and in the playoffs the past few years. I don't know. Something about... Okay, let me just take away or step away from this topic in general real quick. Something about the 2015 draft class is I don't know, man. It's just weird because you got Karl-Anthony Towns, who is probably the best. Yeah, he's definitely the best player or second best player from that draft class, and has only made the playoffs once. And it was the A seed, and he got swept. Or I think he lost in 6 to the Rockets or something. But I'm pretty sure they got swept. I can't remember. It was 2018. And he needed Jimmy Butler to make the playoffs. D'Angelo Russell, he also made the playoffs once. Everybody was saying he was crazy and great, but now he's playing like a normal, average player in Minnesota with Karl-Anthony Towns, and I don't know what they're doing over there, but yeah, that's interesting. And then now you also got what's his name? You got Kristaps, who started his career on the Knicks, got traded to the Mavericks. This is only his first or second time in the playoffs. Probably second, but last year he was injured, so I'm not counting that. But this is his second time in the playoffs. Oh wait, no, he did play a few games though. Second time in the playoffs, and he is just like in New York. I saw stuff that he was doing, and I was like, "Oh, Kristaps is so good." Now it's like watching him in Dallas. It doesn't look like Kristaps Porzingis anymore. It just doesn't look. He just doesn't look as good. He just doesn't look like as good player as he was in New York. I don't know what it is, man. But then you got Devin Booker, probably the best player out of those 4. This is his first time making playoffs. He's the one guy who I know is like really good. Him and Karl-Anthony Towns, I know, haven't really regressed at all, but they've been the ones progressing. I think Porzingis and Russell regressed, but yeah, that I don't know what's going on with that draft class and its prime or premier players, top players, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know, bro. They're still relatively young, so they can still continue their careers and get better. But right now, it's just looking like Devin Booker and Karl-Anthony Towns are like the two good players in that thing. But you never know. They can get better. They can still do things because they're only like 24, 25, 20. I think Devin Booker's like 23 because he came in at 18 or something. But yeah. Moving on. Well, no, not moving on. Going back to what I was talking about. Mavericks, Clippers. Kawhi's going off. Luka's going off. In this game 7, I'm rooting for the Mavericks, and I think the Mavericks. But I think that I have a small feeling that the Clippers might pull it out because it's Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs. So, yeah. But then again, the Mavericks, yeah. And the craziest thing about this, Kawhi left Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby for playoff P and the Clippers. Playoff, oh my gosh, bro. Kawhi really left this. Oh, I'm getting bad Kawhi flashbacks. You know what? Kawhi, it's fine. If you wanted to go to LA, you could have just said so, man. You could have gone there vacation. You still had a I'm gonna stop. Okay. So, my first round predictions. The first round is done. My last game 7 prediction for Mavericks Clippers is probably gonna be the Mavericks who win. But the Clippers could pull it out and somehow win. But yeah, who knows. Anyways, second round predictions. I'm gonna start with probably the easiest series to predict. Well, not really easy, but if the Sixers have Joel Embiid, it's over. Then again, the Hawks do have Clint Capella. And Clint Capella might do a bit better on defense than other centers, but I don't know. I still think that the Clippers, or not Clippers, we're not talking about that series anymore. I still think that the Sixers are probably going to win that one, considering they have Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and a good team. But then again, the Hawks have Trae Young, John Collins, and a good team. So, I'm saying it's going to be at least a 6-game series. If it's a 7-game series, it's either going to be, if the Hawks win, it's going to be Hawks in 7. If the Sixers win, it's going to be Sixers in 6 or 7. Or maybe even 5, who knows. But it's not going to be a sweep. Neither team is going to sweep the other. That's what I'm saying for sure. I'm saying my prediction final is going to be Sixers in 6. Good. Next up, I'm going to go to the West to call one of the easier series. It's because the one in the East is the other one in the East is very interesting. Now, Jazz, I'm gonna say Jazz versus Mavericks or Jazz versus Clippers. So if the Jazz face the Mavericks, then I have the Jazz winning that in 6. Because Luka could have some good games, but it's Donovan Mitchell, it's Rudy Gobert. They can make the conference finals. That's what I believe. But if it's the Clippers are. I honestly don't know, because the Clippers haven't showed anything in this first round. So I could see the Jazz actually beating the Clippers in 7. It'd have to be in 7. Because the Clippers do not look good. So if the Jazz beat the Clippers in 7, then I wouldn't be surprised. But I could also see the Clippers beating the Jazz in 7. It's probably going to be a 7-game series. Or a 6-game series. A 6 or 7-game series. It's not going to be a sweep or a 5-game series. Or a gentleman sweep. You know when they call a gentleman sweep yeah. So, I'm going to say my final answer is probably going to be, if it's Jazz versus Mavericks, Jazz in 6. If it's Jazz versus, no, wait, you know, I'm going to put some respect and look at Jazz in 7. If it's Jazz versus Clippers, I'm going to say Jazz in 7. Yeah, Jazz in 7. It really depends on who wins this game 7. If the Mavericks win game 7, I have more faith in them. With the momentum, if the Clippers win game 7, I have more faith in them. But who knows? Now, Suns versus Nuggets. Nikola Jokic versus Devin Booker. I'm gonna just say Devin Booker. The Suns are probably gonna win this in 6, because Jokic, if Jamal Murray was here, it would definitely be a 7-game series, and I wouldn't know it would be tougher to call who would win. But without Jamal Murray, it's gonna be rough to win the series, because you got Devin Booker on the other side. Seeing a Devin Booker versus Jamal Murray duel would be amazing. In my opinion, I would love to see that. Seeing Jamal Murray versus Damian Lillard, and then Jamal Murray versus Devin Booker, and then Jamal Murray versus Donovan Mitchell, and then the finals Jamal Murray versus either Nets. It really depends, but Jamal Murray versus anybody is a ridiculous duel in the playoffs. I would love to see it, but of course injuries suck, and now we can't see that, so that sucks. But you know what? It's fine. I'm gonna say Suns in 6. Suns in 6, because I think that Jokic could get 2 good games, but like at the end of the day. But then again, Chris Paul's injury might affect him too. So, it could be a 7-game series, but I'm going to say Suns in 6 as my official prediction. Next up, we got the what do we have again? Bucks Nets. This series is definitely gonna be it's gonna be 7 games, definitely. In my opinion, based on what I saw from the season and based on what I see from like from the Nets, I'ma say Bucks in 7. The Bucks have great defense, right? And the Nets have probably one of the greatest offenses of all time. So the offense of the Nets, it comes from Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. Those 3 are ridiculous in offense. And where does their defense come from? Bruce Brown and Nicholas Claxton. So it's kind of sad. But then the Bucks, where does their offense mainly come from? I'd say mainly Bryn Forbes in the first series is going off. So I could say Bryn Forbes could be a good spark off the bench. And then of course you have the 2-time MVP Giannis. And Chris Middleton he went 50, 40, 90 last year, something like that. Or he got close to it at least. I can't remember, but Chris Middleton is the offensive threat. And then on defense, Chris Middleton is good. Jrue Holiday is good. Giannis is great. He's a defensive player of the year, so what do you expect? So I could see, and you know the old saying, offense wins games, defense wins championships. I think in a playoff environment that could come, and especially this is after the game 1 of the Bucks Nets series. So especially after seeing the James Harden injury with the hamstring, yeah, I got Bucks in 7. I could see them winning the series, making it to the conference finals, and then it's pretty easy from there. Not easy, but you know what I mean. So I say Bucks in 7 is my official prediction for the East semis on the 2 versus 3 matchup. Yes. Now, I think that's pretty much it for the video. I'm gonna make my conference finals predictions after. Hopefully my predictions are right. You never know, they might be wrong because everybody makes mistakes. But yeah, pretty much that's it. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, share. You can check out my play-in predictions video and my season review. Like, that was a long video, so if you have any time to just watch long videos, then go ahead, watch that one. It's 51 minutes long, I think. But it's just me talking about the season. So go ahead, check that out, and yeah, so that'll be it for this video. I'll see you guys next time. I'm trying not to make this outro similar to my other channel outro, but whatever. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.